Hello, my name is Justin Adams, and welcome to Jay's. This is Patrick, my neighbor and movie buff. He loves movies, as you can tell by his room. It's a lot cooler than mine, and a lot more organized. I would show you over there, but
I would agree with the organization.
Oh,
but, your room might be nicer.
No, my room is messy. It's so messy compared to this, but this is awesome. So, what we are going to be talking about, well, first off, Patrick and I, we're going to do many things together. He has many ideas, and I love him. He's done a lot of awesome things, and...
I don't think that would be me.
Do you want to say anything to the people before we get going?
Yeah, for people that watch Justin's channel that don't know me, my name is Patrick Dolan. I've been a lifelong movie fan. I've just recently been introduced to Justin through some mutual friends and some comedy stuff that we've been involved with. And we just kind of immediately hit it off as soon as movies came into. I think we were talking about... I think I was out front of the hall when I was talking about Batman v Superman came out, and you just ran up, inserted yourself in the conversation. It's like, are you guys talking about Batman v Superman? And I'm like, well, yes, we are. And then bam, a friendship was started, and it found out later that we just happened to be next door neighbors too.
It was meant to be. Tim Miller, he's come out. Deadpool was a huge hit February. It was one of the biggest movies, one of the best. You really like it.
I put it probably on my top 5 list of the year.
Oh yeah, especially with this year of movies.
Yeah, this year in movies to me just has not been up to par with previous years. There's just been a lot of shit that has come out.
There's also been a lot. There's a lot of bad years of movies. It's very rare to have that really, really good year of movies.
Yeah, I can't.
This year is especially horrible.
I think
because of all the remakes.
Yeah,
and the sequels.
And I'm not normally opposed to remakes if they're done well. If they distance themselves enough from the original, introduce something new, but still kind of harken back to the original in that nostalgic way.
Yeah.
I'm cool with it. If it tells its own story, that's great. But that's 1 out of 10 that happens to every year with remake. That kind of falls in the line of comic book movies as well. So being a fan of Deadpool before the movie even came out, I kind of knew what I was in store for. It was just dependent upon the writers and the directors, and if they were able to see that side of the character that the comic book fans have, and obviously they did. Tim Miller and I can't. Red Reese and Paul Wernick, which they nailed the character. Absolutely, and to a T. Yeah, he's been lobbying for 10 years to play this role, and just those 4 people together just nailed the character, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant and a breath of fresh air when it comes to superhero movies. You never really saw anything quite like it, and it blew me away.
Well, Patrick, are you ready to be super sad? Because Tim Miller is now gone!
Yeah!
He left because of creative differences. Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool himself.
Yeah, apparently he had some creative differences with the Merc with a mouth himself, Ryan Reynolds. I haven't read too much into it. I think you know more facts about it, so... But, I'm bummed because I think, the 4 of them together, and we know this movie was going to introduce Cable and potentially even Domino as well, who was another X-Force member.
And that's what had them go their separate ways, because Tim Miller wanted to get someone from, I forgot I think Bloodline.
Yeah, what's his name? He played Coach Taylor on Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, that guy. We'll put it here. That name will be there. But, yeah, Tim Miller wanted him, but Ryan Reynolds was like, no. And also, Tim Miller wanted to do more stylized movie, as Ryan Reynolds wanted to do more raunchy, R-rated stuff. And Ryan Reynolds also, in his contract, he has casting call and stuff. He tells... He's the one that gets final decision on casting and the scripts and stuff, because he's the major producer. So
yeah, he is credited as a producer on that, right?
Yeah, he's the one behind that, and especially since the movie's huge, 20th Century Fox does not want to piss off the main dude, because you can replace a director, but you cannot replace that Deadpool.
No, and I can't see any after seeing him in that role. Just gonna strike Wolverine Origins from the record here.
Yeah, fuck that
for many reasons, not just Deadpool.
Yeah.
I think there's one scene in that movie that I liked, and it was only because it was photographed well. But you take him away and you don't have a Deadpool movie. I'm sorry. There's like and on that note, it's I'll get to that later. Without him you don't have a Deadpool movie.
Yeah,
so.
but I think this is my theory. Can I tell you my theory? Can I lay it out on you?
Yeah, I might fall asleep, but
so I feel like this might be a ruse. I feel like they might be fucking with us. Because do you remember when they talked about how Deadpool was going to be PG-13?
Yeah.
And it was like that for a good, 2 weeks until Ryan Reynolds did the Mario Lopez.
Yeah.
Nope, it's still rated R. So maybe this is just something that they're fucking with us with. Because the dude from Bloodline, you look at that guy and you're like, Cable? What?
Whatever you're imagining is not going to happen.
Well, I don't know, man. I wish I could remember his name right now. But Friday Night Lights was it's still to this day one of my favorite television shows of all time.
Billy Bob.
That's the movie.
Yeah.
But if you haven't watched it, I suggest you check it out. It's got some of the most brilliant, honest writing involving high school kids that I've seen put to television. Maybe Freaks and Geeks would be right up there on par with just the honest writing of high school characters. And he plays Coach Taylor in this, the coach of this football team. And he was nominated for an Emmy, I believe, twice for the role of Coach Taylor, and he lost both times. And the show just has such a strong fan base. So when I heard, when I opened up my Facebook, and I like all the movie sites, comingsoon.net, Dark Horizons, various others, and I literally dropped my phone and I was like, fucking Coach Taylor's gonna play Cable. Coach Taylor is gonna play Cable. And I thought about it for a while and I'm like, you know what, that could work.
I only saw him in Wolf of Wall Street and he was really good in that.
Yes. Well, you saw Peter Jackson's King Kong, right?
Yeah, it was
he played the kind of Clark Gable-esque actor who was he was kind of a pussy at first, but then he comes back and swings down into the spider pit with the machine gun.
That's right.
Yeah, he was in that too. He's been in a bunch of stuff. One small role that he did that I absolutely loved is a movie I'd love to go back and visit again. I haven't seen it since it first came out. Is The Kingdom with Jamie Foxx, Jason Bateman.
Dude, I think that I'm all about surprises when it comes to casting, but I think when they talked about Ron Perlman being Cable, I was more into that because I can not only see that, but I can see him being a funny him and Ryan Reynolds can have a good back and forth, and I feel like Ryan Reynolds probably felt that with being with the guy from Bloodline. He seems like a guy that is more of an actor.
Whatever you're imagining is not going to happen.
Yeah.
Not he probably is willing to have fun on set and stuff. I don't know. It just seems that seemed to piss him off. But then again, I still do feel that this could be just them fucking with us because I don't know. How could you? That movie almost made $1 billion.
I think it
made like
787 million. I think was its final worldwide gross.
After Fantastic Four and after all the shit that happened with 20th Century and stuff, how can you be mad about that? Like, how can you guys get into creative differences with that much money?
Yeah, and on top of that, I mean, their X-Men franchise, aside from, I know Deadpool is a part of the X-Men universe, but, Hugh Jackman's gearing up to play his final performance as Wolverine.
Yeah, which Logan trailer was awesome.
Logan trailer was great. We'll get to that in a bit. And I was watching the documentary on the X-Men Apocalypse Blu-ray, and Jennifer Lawrence's contract is up for that. I think McAvoy's contract is up for that. Fassbender, his contract is up. So I mean, unless they just kind of spearhead something really quickly, which is kind of what they did with the Fantastic Four remake, and we all know how that turned out. The Deadpool is the only thing they have left to keep this X-Men franchise alive.
Anything Marvel related, with 20th Century Fox, that's the only thing that's keeping them. That was their biggest movie in the Marvel franchise, and it's an R-rated. That was the only one that took risks, and that's why it made a lot of money. That's why I'm kind of worried about Deadpool 2, especially with this kind of buzz. It might generate that type of low expectations. Yeah. But I don't know. I think Ryan Reynolds, he's smarter than that, especially with Deadpool.
And he knows the character, like from page to page, panel to panel. I mean, he is this character to a T.
Yeah, and Betty White gives it 4 Golden Girls.
Yeah,
yeah, you got
best picture of the year, according to Betty White, who probably hasn't even seen fucking movie.
Probably can't even understand movies anymore.
You're lucky when you get a movie that good and the creative team, the entire creative team, completely crosses over into the sequel. Yeah. It very rarely happens.
Oh, but also something to bring back on the Tim Miller thing. In the first movie, he was a visual effects designer before he was a director, and so he had the reason why the movie was such a low budget is because he had his visual effects team do the movie, like, make it look as clean and like big budget as possible, but like with no salary. And so now that Tim Miller's gone, all those people are gone too.
That's
so
true.
Like,
yeah, he could take his whole team with him.
Yeah, it's a domino effect, and that's one thing that I'm worried about. And people are also talking about like Quentin Tarantino doing it, maybe Ryan Reynolds doing it. How do you feel about that?
Quentin Tarantino's not gonna. That's just fans like.
Smith.
That's fans like jerking off to the internet.
Yeah.
Like, let's get 500 signatures and Quentin Tarantino will direct our comic book. No, fuck that. Quentin Tarantino has a lot better things to do.
And you can't. Don't be expecting Quentin Tarantino to do a sequel to a movie too. Like, Quentin Tarantino's gonna do something that Quentin Tarantino wants to do.
And he's. I mean, very rarely does that man direct anything that he hasn't written. Yeah. And Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, they've done a phenomenal job writing this character. So I'm sure the script for Deadpool 2 is Deadpool 2.
Deadpool 2.
Wow, that's a tongue twister. Deadpool 2 is brilliant. And so no, we don't need Quentin Tarantino. We don't need Kevin Smith. Like, as much as I enjoy their works, Tarantino more than Smith at this point, obviously. I get more joy out of listening to Kevin Smith's podcast than I do watching his movies anymore. But like, we don't need a director like that for they're thinking, oh, these directors are just so great with dialogue, and Deadpool can't shut his mouth. And it's like, no, those two things I don't think are gonna mix.
Yeah. He did Randall, remember that?
Yeah.
Clerks. They're the same person.
And if they were going to get a replacement, what I've been hearing is that one of the co-directors of the first John Wick is being sought after to replace Tim Miller, which I think would be a great idea. Get somebody with a independent film mindset, and that doesn't have a lot of experience, because I think a movie like this, to learn as you go, especially for a movie like Deadpool, is the way to do it. Deadpool is such an unpredictable character, so and what those guys did with John Wick, I thought was awesome. John Wick was one of the best action movies that have come out in a long time.
And it had so much good humor to it without like throwing it in your face.
Yeah, and I was just a bit disappointed with the ending of it, the whole mano-y-mano fight. Like, they spend like an hour and a half showing you what a fucking badass John Wick is, and then the 60-year-old fucking aging mobster is gonna get in a fucking mano-y-mano fist fight with him. I'm sorry, but I thought that was fucking bullshit and a cop-out.
And the beginning makes me cry.
Yeah,
I have to literally skip the beginning of that movie.
Yeah, it's like, and which is great, because I love in the John Wick 2 trailer, like, they show him walking with the dog all full grown.
No one's fucking with that dog. And I think that guy would be perfect, not only because I think you don't need a comedic director to do Deadpool 2. That's going the complete wrong route. That's like not.
I think the writing and Reynolds' performance will handle the comedy perfectly.
You need someone who can do those awesome action shots. Who can really, like, we have Ryan Reynolds who's producing, and being a producer is like, especially with a big studio movie, is just as much work as being a director. So Ryan Reynolds can get the comedy himself with those writers. Like, we need a director that can really like serve on those like big time explosions, because Ryan Reynolds can't. He can't do shit with those explosions. But with being Deadpool, that's literally all on him. Like, probably the best moments in Deadpool were just him just being Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool.
Yeah, which I can't say enough about the movie. Like I said, it was one of my top of the year so far.
Yeah, and that it was that movie was amazing.
It's just
I saw the movie way too many times in the theater.
It's a shame. So we'll I mean I guess we'll see what happens. Maybe it is a ruse. Maybe they are just trying to fuck with the audience.
Yeah, I want that to happen again. But I can't wait for the credits, the opening credit sequence for Deadpool 2, just to say directed by another overpaid tool.
Another overpaid tool
movie. It's very rare. It's like it's stupidly rare. That's why I'm super. Even if Tim Miller and Ryan Reynolds and all the writers came back for Deadpool 2, there's still going to be a little part of me that's worried just because it's 20th Century Fox writing it.
Yeah.
Even though they shouldn't, no one should be worried at all because of how much money that movie made and like the fan base. That movie's the sequel is going to make just as much money.
And if it doesn't make quite as much money, it's definitely going to have a bigger opening weekend than the first one.
Yeah, it's already the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time.
Yes.
And now, like, with the sequel, I feel like it's, like, maybe not going to hit the $1 billion mark, but it's going to be super, super close, and it's going to break records and break bones.
Yeah. That was a bad joke.
I know. Alright, guys, that's what we think. What do you think about this whole mess? Let us know in the comments section. Like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Yes!
Whatever you're imagining is not going to happen.